Those used to be working pipes, and they're not anymore because you can't match them, right? You have the pipes behind it. So those are original pipes from one of the organs, and it's just decorated to look pretty and to match what we have up here. There's great debate. There's lots of controversies in churches. Is that an eagle or a dove? Our church records say it's a dove. And it's a little askew if you really look closely. It'll drive you nuts now that you know that. But, so that's the Holy Spirit looking over us. So the style and what has happened in the sanctuary has changed. So I didn't mention, so this chair is from 1735, from the original, with the sign, do not sit in it, for good reason. But, so that's from the original church building, which I think probably was more comfortable than the pews if you're sitting in there. I didn't realize how uncomfortable they were because I usually sit up here until just recently. You ready?
I am.
Oh, good. I'm done.
Thank you. You have my permission. Thank you, Rob. So, the truth of the matter is, I've attended the Republican National Convention looking for our next guest artist, and I could not find them. Last week I went to the Democratic National Convention and also looked for an artist that was going to be capable of playing this magnificent drum. Could not find any. Nobody volunteered. I've been around this area, and I finally was able to come up with somebody who has the talent and has the fortitude to be able to take charge of the bass drum. Would you please welcome Gene Holmes. That's enough. We'll have a chance for photographs later. Don't panic. All right, here we go. What? Tune?
Give me a C.
She is so demanding. I beg your pardon. Rob mentioned about Aaron Copland's beginning of World War II. It started out that the conductor of the Cincinnati Symphony wanted to have fanfares for each of his concerts when World War II broke out. So he wrote to the British side and said, would you please give us something that we can play? And they did. And it was so successful that that was World War I. When World War II broke out, he repeated it, but he said, what I want to do now is to take American composers. And that's how Aaron Copland wrote this. Out of the 10 fanfares that were written for the Cincinnati Orchestra Symphony, one exists. This is the one. So if those of you who have been astute enough to read your program, I'm switching the first and second numbers with your permission. That was featuring all the reed stops. The reed stop works exactly like a clarinet on a pipe organ, but we call them all different names. We have clarinets, we have French horns, trumpets. The big trumpet that you heard from the back, it's called a festival trumpet. Sometimes in big churches you will see a trumpet en chemin, which means standing out. And those pipes, instead of this way, would be standing vertically. Ode to Joy. Rob said a little bit about that, so I don't need to repeat it. It was adopted as the anthem of Europe by the Council of Europe in 1972, and later by the European Union. Charles Callahan died last year. He was one of those composers that my second organ teacher would have scoffed his nose at. He says, "Oh, that's plebeian." But he, in my opinion, wrote so much music for organ that was accessible for those who are not college trained. He's written this wonderful Ode to Joy, and that's where I came up with this idea. So many people have the wrong, in my humble opinion, wrong idea of what a pipe organ can be. So this little ditty from Charles Callahan has 6 or 7 variations, and you can pick out the melody very easily in some, and others it's not so easy. I should mention while I'm sitting here, I'm changing the computer memory system, and most of the time I get it right. toccata in D minor. The toccata in D minor, Bach's toccata, is well known. On the back of your program, you have my cheat notes. And my cheat notes, just explaining a little bit, I know that the Cole speaker talked a little bit about Bach. He brought the genre of the fugue to its highest form. And basically a fugue, I equate to people and saying it's like a relay race. You watch the relay races in France, the first runner takes off with a baton in his hand, and he hands it off after he comes full circuit to a second runner who will take that, and then to the third and the fourth runner. The difference between a fugue and a relay race is that when the runner hands off that baton, which we're going to call the motif or the theme, that second player can't leave the field. He has to run in concert with. And in musical terms, that second theme has to match or help. And they call that a counter theme or a counter subject. So the theme in the fugue we'll talk about in a second. I'll just look at the top. I outlined I have to change my settings, and I also made one mistake. We have fans in the chambers. If anybody knows anything about fans and sound waves, they change the pitch. And I have the fan in there to control the temperature because organs fluctuate with the temperature. So that explains that. The toccata, the first line above, I've outlined in color a series of notes. And it starts out with, and the third one, fourth one. That's all it is, and he's putting some running scales in between. And the second line, you'll notice that I've outlined the notes. And that should sound almost the same as, except for backwards. And what he's taking is that theme and he's embellishing it by and then he comes back down again. So that is the second and third line. And this is a toccata. Toccata means to touch in the original. And basically it's a chance for the organist to show off. This piece was not popular in Bach's time. In fact, Bach died in 1750. This didn't become popular until 1830 when Mendelssohn brought it back to life. Brought Bach back to life. Mendelssohn was largely responsible for the resurgence. This piece was scoffed at by some organists and saying, it's not Bach, there are too many things that are not consistent. But we have no original manuscript of this. We only have a copy. And that was by one of Bach's students, or it might have been a student of a student. Doesn't matter, does it? So that is the first three lines. He's just going around arpeggios, which is instead of, and he's building his whole toccata on that. Then he gets to the meat, the fugue. And on the fourth line down in orange, you hear the theme. Here's the baton, the runner taking off. Whoops. And while he's doing that, he stays on the field and another runner takes over. And then he plays around with it. So you have now two runners. You've got the subject, which comes, I challenge you, I haven't really counted them, comes in a number of times. Sometimes he'll play the whole subject, sometimes he'll stop, sometimes he'll cut it short. So the trick in listening to Bach, a fugue, is to, how can can I pick out this number? And then can I hear also, these are for the multi-talented people out there, can I hear the counter subject? Where is the counter subject? So that's the runner accompanying the first runner, the second runner accompanying the first runner. So that's a quick tutor on Bach's Toccata and Fugue in D minor. This became very famous. Anybody know the movie? Again. It was in Phantom of the Opera. It was also in Disney's Fantasia. And that's what brought it to life again in the United States. Stokowski took a hold of this and wrote it for orchestra. It's a brilliant piece for orchestra also. So I'm going to be playing Bach's Toccata and Fugue in D minor. Oh, you know what the prerequisite for organist is, don't you?
Yeah.
Socks.
And matching collar.
And a matching collar. Change the computer setting again. The other thing that I didn't say is, what does this chord feel like to you? What feeling does that evoke in you? Tension, suspense. He uses it all that's a diminished seventh chord, and there's a major seventh chord. And they always lead to, but a diminished seventh, and then it resolves. That's enough of that. Let's play. a change. We moved away from Germany and into England. The organ concertos of Handel, the organ concertos written by Handel, were written because he needed to make some money. Back in those days, Handel would have an orchestra accompanying his oratorios, and in the middle of the oratorio, when the singers are tired, he'd let them go off and have a rest, and he would play one of these little concertos. And they were always to kind of show off perhaps his talent. These were written out of desperation because there were two factions at that time. One was Handel writing his operas, and I don't frankly remember the name of the competing person, but they were competing for the same audience. And Handel had to do something, and this is what he did to try to bring over the people that would have otherwise gone off to this other composer's operas or operettas. So that little concerto was written. The English organ didn't have, most of them didn't have pedals back in those days, and it was very different than the German instrument. These little organs were sometimes called portative organs, a little bit like that, a small instrument that would not compete with the whole orchestra, but with just a group of people. When this instrument was put in, the front part, I left the lights on in there so you could see a little bit maybe. The front part is the orchestra part that I'm going to be playing. And the back organ is going to be playing the organ part. The difference here is that I can't play, I don't have four hands. So when they're playing together, it creates a problem. So I've recorded on the back organ the organ part, and I'm just going to play the orchestra part up front. I hope. I was talking to the group back at the dining hall, that all of these are different ranks of pipes, and some of them I'm controlling by hand pulling them, and others are set by presetting these, what we call pistons. And that makes my job easier.
You need a sheet?
When all else fails, call me.
Hi. Noel Rawsthorne, known to his friends and family as Thorne, was the organist at Liverpool Cathedral in England. He has written many compositions for both choral and instrumental music. You may recognize some of the tunes within his hornpipe humoresque, which Stuart will play next, if he can find the music. You will recognize some of the tunes in this piece. Probably its best known use is to us is as the opening music to the classic Popeye cartoons. However, across the pond in Great Britain, the hornpipe is more closely associated with the British Navy and their annual English celebration of classical music called the Proms. Now let me explain. The BBC Proms is an 8-week season in the summer of daily concerts, including mostly classical orchestra music. On the last night, however, they present a different mood. On that night, the beginning of the evening is serious, with commissioned works and fabulous soloists. But in the second half of that final concert, the momentum shifts away from the staid British way of doing things, so that ultimately the evening culminates in an iconic medley of British sing-alongs. Now, veterans of the last night of the Proms will be familiar with the various quirks and rituals that accompany the music making. At the end of the evening, rows of the audience members bob along with what is referred to as the sailor's hornpipe. Many hundreds of flags wave enthusiastically as folks join the professionals on toy instruments making up the final section, a hornpipe. It seems that the hornpipe is a genre in and of itself. It begins in stately fashion, gaining speed with each repetition, while the audience tries to keep up on flutes, pipes, and party horns that they've brought for the occasion. The hornpipe has brought us joy for centuries, and Thorne has artfully transcribed it for 2 different groupings of flutes. One part after another has a turn in the melodic line, which is then layered over multiple instruments. But then Thorne tosses rural Britannia into the mix of the string effect. And now I'm hoping to God that Stu has found his instrument, because I couldn't play.
I forgot my spinach.
You need your spinach.
Pick 'em up, pick 'em up. There's olive oil.
Thank you, dear, for helping
You're
out.
welcome.
Dan Locklear is a native of Charlotte, North Carolina, and he has just won all sorts of accolades in the organ world. I bet you can't hear me because I don't have this on. In the organ world, his rubrics is a series of 5 pieces that were written. The title's taken from the Book of Common Prayer, and one of them is that peace may be exchanged. And those of you familiar with the Christian liturgy know that when we exchange the peace, we turn to each other and wish the peace of God. And with us, that exchanging the peace isn't necessarily limited to a worship service. And when I say with us, I mean with our group here. The thing that set Noel on the path of righteousness was that part of his rubrics was played for the funeral of John F. Kennedy, Ronald Reagan, sorry about that. And he also set to music Maya Angelou's poem On the Pulse of Morning. So he has just established himself. So this, I said that the series, this recital is supposed to be concentrated on joy. This is a little bit on the peaceful side. And what I would challenge you to do is to bring to mind things about which you feel we can exchange.
Can you be playing the stripper?
You really I had a couple people worried here.
Lovely bloomers.
Boy, I didn't plan on that being so hot, nor your comments. I challenge you to take the moment in this wonderful, wonderful piece, that peace may be exchanged, to just think about ways in which you can help spread peace, whether it's in the world, is it giving good wishes to one of your neighbors, whatever it is. I think that this is a perfect piece for it. And then I'm going to go right into We Shall Overcome. We Shall Overcome. Is this on?
Yeah.
Yes. We Shall Overcome was written by Carl Haywood, and it was used at the funeral of Martin Luther. No, it wasn't. Got the wrong composer. John Lewis. And Robert Haywood is one of very few black organist composers that has just set the world on fire. And so the first piece, Dan Locklear's That Peace May Be Exchanged, is going to set one mood. And then I challenge you to think of ways in which we can together all overcome whatever adversity we face, whether collectively or individually. So I will group those last 2 pieces together.
No more Popeye.
I notice we're running over time. Something is wrong here. It's time, I ran over a lot more than I thought I was going to run over. Never happens. I hope that you'll stick around and ask questions. If there are a couple people who'd like to go upstairs and look at the organ in the back, I actually played that during the concerto, right? And you're welcome to come up and try the little positive too. Thank you all for coming. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Stuart, you're magnificent. Thank you so much for making this so much fun and memorable. Thank you all for coming. On behalf of Cole and the Wanakee Reserve, we hope you all keep coming out to our events. We'll try to keep it interesting and fun. And the Lady of Percussion, worthy of discussion. Jean, thank you so much as well.
Yeah, they're the same. The same as what's on the keyboard. Did you hear that? Oh, jeez. Yes. Right. Right. It is. Right. Right. Yep. I have to take it.
I'm not a tip in the state.
More or less, especially the hornpipe, because that was all one. And you know, I just took it up.
Sure they had a loss.
We have some generic ideas. Yes. You know, I know that they want to go forward.
I'm not sophisticated. My humor is much further than
Nice meeting you. I can keep this too.
is up there. And the black, the big black, little shoes, those control the Venetian lines.
I did.
Oh, yeah.
Then
I mean,
regular.
Yeah, but you know, you can only play on 2 keyboards at once. Once in a while, you can get a third.
Well, but even still, like.
Well, it tells you what sounds you want.
So the
Right.
music is it written for like the top, the middle, and the lower?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's more than, it's got like 6.
So do I. It's one line music.
No, but look at what he plays, it's got 3.
Wow.
So see what it's
See, this is one, and this is the pedal.
And that's the battle.
But here it
doing. So where
says,
is the third key?
it just says,
You said
they-
there were only
61. Yeah, no, it's on.
on each one.
And on this one, got the, and here it says,
Oh, the program, here's the program.
no, I'm looking for the other one. It tells me what to put on the upper, the middle, and the lower keyboard. But if I don't have this one, right hand, left hand, and pedal. The pedal has 2 of those.
Now I understand why so.
Brain is like.
Yeah, you do. When you know that he does like this. Yep, yep.
All right, let me take. Did you go up? You want to go up?
I don't know, I would give you.
The engine.
I can't.
I'm going to take Peter, Charles. I'll see you back at the scout. I'm going to go back.
I took March back.
Okay, let's go. Upstairs. Oh, no, I'm taking them. They wanted to see. We'll go this way.
Tuesday night. Tuesday night. Not Wednesday for lunch. Tuesday.
Oh, I will, you know, we didn't know the program.
All right. Yeah, yeah. We'll see you Tuesday.
Okay. Goodbye, thank you. What'd you say? Yeah,